Welcome to The Way Home, Crossnore Communities for Children's Facebook Live show, as well as our podcast. My name is Holly Kessler, and I'm the Senior Director of Community Relations at Crossnore. We are here every Tuesday talking with one or two of our staff members or a community partner, sharing about the work that we do, the child welfare system, or ways that we are engaging in our community. If you miss our live show, you can always rewatch on Facebook or catch the show on our YouTube channel. And the podcast comes out on Fridays on our blog at crossnore.org. So there are plenty of ways to engage with our show each week. Today, I'm excited about my guest. It is Dr. Sarah Norris, Crossnore's Chief Program Officer. And I hope you'll join me in welcoming Sarah to the show today.
Hi. Good morning. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. It looks like you're sitting outside today. Hope it's warm there.
It is. It's nice weather, some sunshine. So good day to start out.
That is awesome. Well, why don't you give us a little fuller introduction of just who Dr. Sarah Norris is and your role here at Crossnore? Anything you want to share with us about your life or your family?
That's great. So I am the Chief Program Officer here at Crossnore. So I lead all of our program strategy, growth, implementation. So everything that we do from a program perspective where we serve kids. So I oversee all of that, which we have lots of folks that are on the ground doing good work. So I get the privilege of working with them. I've worked at Crossnore almost 5 years, and I've been in the field, child welfare, mental health field for about 20 years. So I definitely have a long-term passion for this work, making a difference for kids that we serve and their families. And I have a real strong passion for systems change. So what that means is I really want to see the future of Crossnore, of what we do, is not just serving the kids that we're serving today, but making a difference for the future. So that's kind of where I spend a lot of my time, of how can we innovate differently and hopefully make a difference 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. I'm married. I have 2 daughters. They're both beautiful and running around, and so they're middle school,
right?
Yes, keep me busy. They keep us kind of hopping, and which is great. I love that. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That is terrific. I can't believe you've been here 5 years. I was thinking about it this morning, how long it had been, and I didn't realize that it had been 5 years.
Yes, almost 5 years. Yes,
that
it is crazy. Time flies.
It does. I just had my 9-year anniversary a couple of weeks ago, and that's almost a decade. Like, I can't believe it's been that long. So it seems like yesterday I came to Crossnore. So.
Yeah.
Well, you are very, very busy and lead a very big division at Crossnore. So I appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. Would you start out by reminding us of Crossnore's mission?
Yes. So Crossnore Communities for Children's mission is to create healthy futures for children and family. And how we do that is by providing a Christian sanctuary of hope and healing. And what that really means is that our focus is on how we're serving children now that are with us. We really want to help support them in getting home, wherever home is for them. Hopefully it's with their birth family, but it might be adoption or it might be with a relative. But wherever home is for them, we want it to be a healing process. And we do that by providing it through our faith-based history. We have 100 years of faith-based history. And so all those things that are kind of encompassed into making sure that we're having a healing experience for the kids while they're here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I appreciate that reminder of just how old of providing services to children and families in Western North Carolina. That's an even longer time than you and I've been around. So
that's correct.
Yeah. Well, tell us about the main services that Crossnore offers. And we have a lot, so I know you can't go into all of them in detail, but if you'll kind of give us an overview of our services, and then we'll maybe dive into a couple of them a little more deeply.
That's great. So one of the great things I love about Crossnore is that we have a full continuum. So what that means is that no matter where a child or family is in their situation, we should be able to help support them in some capacity. So if they're still at home and they just need outpatient services, which is basically therapy where they go meet with a therapist, we have that. If it's they need someone to come to their home and they need to work with them at home on some of the daily activities and things that are happening that might not be able to happen within an office, we have services that can go to the home. So those are prevention services and a specific program called Home Builders, which I can talk a little bit more about. And then there are situations where kids can't remain home for a period of time. So we have an array of services that if that happens, they can come live with us in one of our homes, whether it's on campuses or in one of our foster homes in our community. And we can provide community foster care, or we can provide campus-based foster care. And we have a couple of programs within that larger encompass based on their needs. So it might be based on the family situation. It might be based on age. So we work with all the way up to 21 kids can live with us. So we have an independent living program. And we have, if kids end up needing to leave, they are adopted, we also have adoption. So it's kind of regardless of where kids are and where families are, we have a service that can connect. And we hope, our goal is that any movement will be fluid so that the family doesn't have a broken system as they experience our services.
Yeah, that is an amazing continuum. And for those of you who are watching the video live, you can see this graphic of our continuum now. And just what an incredible array of services. And I love the way you characterize it, Sarah, around wherever a child comes in or a family comes into our services, then we can pick up there and move on out to whatever permanency looks like for them, or successful transition into adulthood, or whatever that looks like for them.
Yes, that's right. And one of the programs I didn't mention, which I can go into a little detail about, is our Bridging Families program, which kind of, if you see the visual, so if you're watching the podcast, you can go to our website, and it's on our website. The Bridging Families program it sits right in the middle of the visual. And that's kind of the connection from, on the left-hand side of the visual are all the services where we're working within that family's home. And on the right-hand side, it's while they're living with us. And that Bridge Families is really centered well because it connects both of those sides. So its goal is to help that family get back home, but they're living rate of time. So it's really neat that if you get a chance to look at that visual to see how that connection is. Because that's a newer program that we have we've been working on it for about a year and a half or so, but have children in that program currently. And we're real excited about the work we're doing there.
Great. So I do want you to tell us a little bit more in detail about a couple of them. So let's start with Home Builders, because that's one of our newer programs as well. It is a national program, but a program that we have brought here to North Carolina. So give us an overview of that program and how we work with families there.
Sure. So Home Builders' goal is to work with a family when they are at probably their most pivotal moment of crisis. So if DSS has been working with them and they feel like that if some services are not put in place pretty much within that 24 to 48 period time frame, then they potentially could have to remove those children. Instead, they're hopeful to bring in a home builders team who can work with that family for 4 to 5 weeks is kind of the idea, but they're going out to that family probably every day. So it's very intensive. Families have to agree, and they have to be willing to participate. And we've had some great success so far, but it's all based on research. It is, like you said, a nationally known program that has lots of research behind it with good outputs and outcomes. So we're really excited because we've started a team in Winston. So they have been up and running for about a year. It's kind of a slow going process to add folks just because of the extensive criteria needed to be able to get folks trained. So we've been kind of following the marks there. And our goal is to hopefully provide it in all 3 of our regions. So that would be in the Winston-Salem region currently. And then we'll add in our Avery region, which is a mountain region, and then out toward Hendersonville and Transylvania and Polk County. So that's our goal for next year, so we can serve even more families.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about Bridging Families is it feels to me like, you tell me if I'm wrong, but it feels to me like we're sort of catching those families at a pivotal time, that if their kids are kind of first going into care, so yes, they've had to leave their home, but they're in a bridging families home, but the parents are still really engaged in that process. And so the likelihood of success of them staying engaged and working their reunification plan seems like it would be higher because we sort of caught them at that pivotal time.
Yes, so that's home builders. So just to make sure, you mentioned bridging families. So just for clarity, they're both really good programs and they work very close together. So just for folks to know that when home builders is working within the home, so you kind of think it has home in the title. And then bridging families is really the link to be the bridge back home. So that's kind of wording wise.
Everybody, sorry about that.
No worries.
So backing up to home builders, so again, part of the pivotal point of that is working with the kids while they're still in the home. So we're keeping them in the home.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Yes. And then bridging families, say a little bit more about that as we're hiring what we're calling professional foster parents.
Yes.
To work with those children. And then, like I was saying, catching those families kind of at that pivotal point where they're engaged in the process of wanting to work that reunification plan.
Yes, that's correct. So bridging families comes in after a child has to be removed. Mm-hmm. And so unfortunately, home builders may not be the only thing that a family needs, or they may not experience home builders. So bridging families, the children live with us, and then we work very closely with the parents who no longer have the children in their home. So they have to be a part of that process to be able to eventually coach them and help them work through their case plan to be able to have their kids reunited. The exciting thing about bridging families is that it, as you mentioned, it's a professional foster parent model, which is a new thing for North Carolina. So historically, all foster care has typically kind of fallen into two main buckets. And one is more in a group care, residential care, kind of those are some of those historical terms that are used that have staff related to it. And then on the other side, we've had volunteer foster parents who they still work a job, they are trained, but they are not paid as a professional salary. They just get a stipend. And it's definitely, unfortunately not enough for the cost of what kids in general cost in our day and time. So this model really takes away the barriers of that volunteer piece, and it allows people to be a parent as a professional. So I kind of attribute it to, I send my kids to school and I want the teachers to have been trained, or maybe the daycare staff to have been trained and they're paid a salary to take care of my kids. Well, we should also want to do that for parenting for children who have to experience foster care. So it's an exciting shift in model. And we are actually the first agency that the state has approved and actually provided some funding to help support. Doesn't cover everything, but they're providing a small pilot funding to be able to support this program so we can hopefully have some great outcomes and that can lead to some system change in the future.
That sounds awesome. And so that program again is Bridging Families.
Yes.
And so I'm not getting them confused again. So good. And then, like you said, we have that just kind of what people are more familiar with in terms of community-based or campus-based foster care. But one of the programs I think that sort of grows out of foster care, because sometimes kids are with us for a long time, but a lot of people don't know about is our youth independent living program. So say a little bit about that.
Yes. So our youth independent living program, it serves really when youth get to teenage years, 13, 14, and they have to start doing things on their own to plan for getting ready to get a job. And then eventually when they start applying for college or for career choices that they might make. So it serves that larger 13 to 21, 23 age group, but we have a living opportunity for those that are around 17 to 21. That's in a different kind of separate from some of our younger youth. So it gives them an opportunity to kind of be in a place where they have a little bit more autonomy. They can kind of come and go as they need to, just like if they were on a college campus, for instance, if they're 18, 19, 20. But it also gives them some oversight and some staff who are supporting them on applying for jobs, applying for colleges, working on a resume, making sure they're doing their laundry, all the different things that we want youth to be doing so that they can be productive citizens as adults. we have a group of folks that work specifically with that age group, and that's their passion and that's who they want to spend their time with, that is on each campus. So we've got cottages or homes on each campus that where some of them can live with us, and then of course beyond that we also serve from a curriculum standpoint.
Okay. And are those young adults are they all in college? Do they have to be in college, or?
They do not have to be in college. So college is not for everyone, and that's
right.
Completely right. Some people trade school or working a business or just finding a job and finding where they want to spend their time. It makes sense. So college is definitely an option if they want to. And sometimes some of our youth end up going off to college and they live in a college dorm and do kind of that experience. Some take night classes or day classes at a local community college, but that is not a requirement. What is a requirement is that they are working on some skill development. So it's more than just living with us and having a bed and a place to stay and food and those kinds of things, although obviously those are important. But they do need to be working towards some goal that they want to set for themselves as they move into adulthood.
Yeah. I think that's the important part. Because like you said, college isn't for everybody.
Right.
And I think for a long time we thought it was, but yes. It's not. It's super important for the kids in our care to get their high school diploma.
Yes.
But then beyond that, what are their goals, and giving them some agency over what it is that they want to do with their own life, I think is an important part of that program too. They've had so much stuff decided for them.
Correct.
Up to that point, so letting them sort of figure out, well, what is it that I want to do in my life, and it isn't the same for everybody. And we also have a great partnership with an organization called the Open Table, where we're working with churches and civic groups, people that want to maybe play a role in a young adult's life. And so we're excited about that partnership and how that can help those young adults, get to know some other young adults that aren't sort of being paid to work with them, but can set up a table. The Open Table calls it a table, and the 4 to 6 adults come around with that young adult, and they call each other friends. They're not mentors, they're friends, and they work utilizing their own social capital to help that young adult meet their goals. So like you said, are they looking for a job? Well, do they even have a resume? Can somebody around that table help them with a resume? And so we're super excited about that partnership as well. And if folks are interested in a way to volunteer, that's a great way to get involved.
What I love about Open Table is it allows folks to bring their expertise in whatever their field is or whatever their passion is to the table for a client or a student that we're working with in a way that doesn't feel completely out of the norm. So it's not something where they have to learn a whole new thing to be able to provide mentorship. So they can, whatever they already know about is what they can kind of feed into the student that they're working with. So I love the concept. It's a group support group help for a student versus a one-on-one, and it's great. Yeah, they're great.
It's going terrific. So, well, that's great. Well, I know that we have sort of a new service here at Crossnore called Tailored Care Management, and it's super complicated. We've been working on it kind of behind the scenes for a while. It's rolling out at the beginning of December, sort of statewide. So just tell us a little bit. Like I said, it's complicated, but tell us a little bit just so that folks know that is a service that we offer.
Yes. So Tailored Care Management, which when you look at the visual from, if you get a chance to, it kind of falls under the clinical services. So it's kind of wrapped into that space. But basically what Tailored Care Management is it's an updated way of providing support holistically. So for instance, if each of us has lots of doctors we're going to see, and so we're having to make all our own phone calls and check in, and then we may have a therapist, and so we're calling our therapist and we're getting things, and then we're checking in on all our kids' different appointments. That's a lot of management of kind of things happening. And so for our clients, oftentimes they have providers from all sorts of different services, from all the systems they're working with, and it can be a really complex thing to remember who's supposed to be helping them navigate the different things. And some of it might be on the mental health side, and they have lots of folks, and they might have a team, and then some of them might be on the physical health side, so they have all the different doctors that they have to work with. what Taylor Care Management does is it takes all those entities and it allows one team to be able to work with that client to help support everything combined. So rather than having all these different people that they've got to connect with, or even the mental health on one side and the physical health on the other, it gives them one main person in a team support that can help them navigate those things to make sure they get the services they need timely, they get the right services. Sometimes, they may not be paired with the right type of service prior to. So this makes sure that they're getting exactly what they need, getting it well. And then we can also, as care managers, advocate for clients if they're kind of getting the system is sort of not helping them like they need. So it is it's a new service for us. We're really excited about it because it will allow us to provide that service for some of our current clients, but it also is going to give us the ability to work with another probably 800 to 900 clients in this capacity specifically over the next year to year and a half. So that's that many more folks that we're going to be able to help support and reach in this way. And so they may not all be served in other services. This may be the only one that we serve them in, but it gives us the ability to be able to continue to support more of the communities that we're in.
Yeah, that is terrific. And there there is some information about Taylor Care Management on our website. You have to go through your Medicaid provider to request a Taylor Care Manager, but you can, there is some information on our website that will answer some questions for you if you have them. And then, like I said, check in with your own Medicaid provider around that. But that sounds like a really exciting new service, and is a place too for folks to come to work for Crossnore, because we're going to have to hire a lot of folks to take care of those 800 to 900 more clients, right? So
that is correct. Yeah. Yes, we've got lots of open positions for sure. So Taylor Care Managers is one, and if anyone's listening and you have a QP status, you'll know what that means. It's a qualified professional. That's a requirement for that position in particular, but we are looking for those folks. We are also looking for individuals and couples who want to serve as a parent. So like we mentioned, the Bridging Families program, professional parents, but we also have other positions where folks are in a parental role, but the schedule's a little different. So cottage parents, we still need parents in that role on both of our campuses. And the good thing about that role is if you like to have a week on and then a week off to do whatever personal things you need to do or travel or however, like that's a great schedule, because you work 7 days and then you're full-time in the cottage, sleeping in the cottage, and then you're off for 7 days and you kind of do a rotation, which is great. And then again, that independent living, we have staff there as well, which also follow that same cottage parent schedule. But all of those roles, we want someone who has first the passion for serving children and want to do it in kind of a parental space. And then we can kind of help pair where people need to be. We also have the care managers, of course, and then therapists. There are other roles that kind of pop up here and there. Because we're continuously growing and expanding and re-innovating, there's always opportunity at Crossnore, which is exciting because even internally folks end up growing in their own career and shift. And so that allows for openings. So it's an exciting time.
It is exciting. And I do love that about Crossnore, that we are helping people grow in their careers. And so if, you can grow in your career and not even have to change jobs at Crossnore. You might change positions, but you can stay at Crossnore. So, well, we have talked about so much, Sarah. What do you think overall, especially from your perspective over programs, what makes Crossnore services stand out above other providers? We got a lot of folks that we partner with and folks that do similar services. We of course think Crossnore does a great job, but what is it that you think makes Crossnore services stand out?
Yes. So we've already talked a little bit about it, but the continuum of service for me is one of the biggest things from a service array that makes us different. Some other areas or different service providers might do one of the things that we do and do it really well, and kind of that's their focus, which we're great. We partner with them oftentimes, but it's nice to be able to have at Crossnore where we've got a continuum where internally we can work well on serving families as their needs change and not have to have a hiccup in services, so to speak. So that continuum is something that we have been growing for years. And we've not always had all these services, but we feel like it makes sense for us at Crossnore. The other big piece that makes Crossnore different from other agencies and just in general is our trauma-informed care model. So what that means is we have a model that we use with our staff, with our clients, with those that we work with, that gives us a lens that as we're looking and working with folks, that we're all using the same language and the same sort of foundation of how we approach those individuals. So we have commitments that we follow. We kind of push that really hard with our staff to challenge each other and to make sure that we're doing the right thing and going above and beyond and doing it from a trauma, excuse me, from a trauma-informed lens, which means we're kind of looking at, okay, we might see behaviors happening, whether it's in our clients or our staff, but we really want to know what's really going on, what's happening underneath that might be leading to that versus making assumptions and things. So for me, that when I joined Crossnore, that was a game changer for me because I knew of trauma-informed care, but not to the extent that Crossnore does it and embeds it and uses it as a foundation for how we do work. So that definitely makes us different.
Definitely makes us different. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Well, Sarah, it's been great to talk to you. Any last thing that you would want to say about Crossnore programs?
I'm excited about it. We've got amazing staff. And if anyone has questions, definitely reach out. Our website has all sorts of places you can connect and ask questions depending on how you want to connect with us. But we are looking for staff, for volunteers, for support, for prayers, all the things that kind of help keep us moving and keep us serving kids and families to the best of our ability. So I appreciate you having me today.
Well, thank you for being here, and thank you for telling our viewers and listeners all about Crossnore programs. Sarah will be back with us again to take a little deeper dive into some other areas, but we especially thank you today for this overview, Sarah. Thanks so much. As I have thanked our guests for today, let me also say thanks to those of you who are watching or listening. We appreciate so much the opportunity to tell you about Crossnore. For more information, please visit our website at crossnore.org, or also follow us on our social media channels. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. You can find out all kinds of information there, and we'd appreciate you following us. That's it for today, but I hope you will join us again next week right here on The Way Home.